Good morning, or good afternoon, everyone. I guess it's afternoon later for some of you, huh?
So they're all muted.
I know that you're all muted. Hopefully you can hear me. So we're very excited today to start our webinar, our very first webinar with you. And it's going to be intense. So I hope you're, it seems like I say that all the time, doesn't it? But this is the key to having a great 2013, which we are planning on doing for all of you. So our STAT webinar is called Welcome to 2013, I guess, goal setting and time blocking and business planning. Now, I know that some of you, it's not moving. I know that some of you have done a lot of goal setting and others of you have done very little. So some of you, some of this may seem like a repeat. Believe me, it is not. So please don't take it for granted that you know what we're doing. We have a graph, we have an interactive calculator that will help you in setting all of your goals and help you so that you can check every day to see how much closer you are to those goals and what you need to do. And we can thank Dan for that. I know you can't talk out loud yet, but when you get a chance, this is absolutely a brilliant tool, and we are the only ones that have it. So you should be so very pleased with that. So let's go to a few housekeeping things first. Make sure your cell phones are off, and not just off, but off, out of your way. I just turned mine off so I can't check, to see if somebody beeps at me. I'm so sick of my phone vibrating this morning, I could scream. So all of you pretend like you're me and turn your phones off. But not just that, distractions. Make sure you're in a place where you can watch the webinar. We are recording it, but it's not the same, when you're just listening. So please make sure you're in a place and you focus. Remember that we have a 90-minute webinar today, and frankly, we're going to be rushing to get through to the end of it. This is a lot of info. Mute yourself if you're on a phone or sound on your computer. Of course, you're already muted, so no problem. You should have your document package for today printed and in front of you. If you don't, would you please do that today while we're going through the rest of this slide? Go find someone to do it for you. Get it in front of you, because you can't use your computer, this interactive calculator that we have. You can't use it while you're watching the webinar. So you're going to want to fill it in live and then transpose it into the interactive calculator so you can continue to monitor your mega success. So since you are accessing the webinar on your queue, I just said that. So fill out your docs during the call and then transpose them after the call. Again, thanks to Dan for the tools. And by the way, Dan has offered to, I know some of you are, as you know, all of you know, I'm extremely analytical, and I have this analytical mind, right? Ha ha. This is a joke. Some of you are analytical, so you'll pick this up really quickly and you'll be totally turned on by it. Others of you may have a little bit of a learning curve. So don't get discouraged. Write down your questions. If I can handle it, you can handle it. Trust me, because I'm the least analytical of any of you. So don't panic. Just call Dan afterwards, and we'll set up a time when he can meet with you and walk you through the calculator. I think you'll all get it today, though. So just don't give up too easily. Don't get frazzled too easily. It'll be great. You're going to love it. So you should have viewed the Parable of the Rocks video by now. If you haven't, please view it immediately after, because a lot of what we're going to talk about, particularly at the end of the program when we're actually setting our goals and time blocking, is in the Parable of the Rocks, and you're going to want to see that. The link was in the email that we sent to you to tell you about this webinar. I thought it was appropriate that we screwed up the time when we were talking about time, because that is God's sense of humor, isn't it? So thank you all for being here on time at the right time. Now, next week is Thanksgiving week, which is really ticking me off, because much as I'm grateful for all of you and this wonderful program that we have, I really am so excited to get to lead generation, and that's what our next call is about. So we're what we thought we would do, and I know this can't work for everybody because I know a lot of you take the whole week off, but a lot of what we talk about today is going to include the lead generation piece. And the lead generation video that is tied to next week's program is going to be posted today. So you can actually go get it and start to watch it today. But we thought maybe if any of you would like a little shot in the arm, that Tuesday, this coming Tuesday at 1 o'clock, we're going to do a mastermind call with all of you who are available. And so if you will mark that down, we'll send you the link and we'll send you, it'll be our same phone call number that we always have. And we will just be discussing what you learned on this webinar, as well as what you've learned doing the role play and the lead gen pieces that we're going to be talking about. So you can get a jump start, because we won't really have a call, obviously, on Thanksgiving. So hopefully you'll all appreciate that. And if you can't be there, don't worry about it. We will record it as long as somebody's there. If nobody's there, then we'll figure the following week after Thanksgiving will be our real lead gen training. Okay. Now I'm going to put Dan on for a minute because he's going to explain to you how this webinar works, just in case you haven't done one before with GoToMeeting. So introducing Dan.
Hi guys, sorry we're not so interactive, but this particular webinar tool we use creates a lot of background noise. So we are recording it, so you'll be able to hear everything as each one of these slides as Christine goes through them with you today, and go back and review them if you need additional information or if you need to be reminded. During the call, I can see right now everyone that's on the call, and you're currently muted. There is a little symbol on your screen that will let you raise your hand. Just as an example to see if it's working for you, Barbara Mahovich, would you please click the yellow hand so I can see that recognize that you're there? Okay, very good. You can unclick that now. So any of you who want to ask a question during the presentation, raise your hand and we will take a quick break to, not take a break, but I'll unmute you and let you ask a question. Also at the bottom, you can send messages. So if you want to send a question, then just type in a question that you may have, and we'll get to that question somewhere during the call. Once you've been unmuted at my end, make sure you're unmuted as well if you're asking a question on either your computer or on your phone. And then once the question is complete and answered, then I will come back and mute you again. This keeps all the background noise out of it, so when you get the recording of the webinar, then you're able to have a nice clean recording and be able to extract the information you may have missed during the call. So Christine, I'll turn it back to you and we'll go from there.
Terrific. Thank you, Dan. And hopefully you all got that. I'm pretty impressed that Barbara found her little hand to raise, because she's not the most analytical person in the group either. And I can say that about her because we're very good friends. Okay, so you may not, I just barely finished doing this. And in fact, I still have a couple of people who don't have role play partners assigned yet. But I did send you each an email with your role play partner assignment and their information, so you can email them and call them to set up your role play schedules. For those of you who had profiles to me, I sent those out today. If you don't have your profile in, which there are about 3 of you that don't have your profiles in, please send it in today. And if you don't know what we're talking about, just call Dan and he will take your profile over the phone. Okay? We really need that in order to, and Harold, I don't think we have your profile, but I did assign you a role play partner as requested. So you're ahead of the curve and you better send me your profile, dude. Okay. All right. So if we don't have your profile, send it in. Now, the weekly video is now working on the STAT website, and it's the one that says the 7 best lead gen scripts and methods. That will begin tomorrow. Okay. All right. Our new blog will be posted by tomorrow as well. And if you would all take a moment, view the blog. Thank you. I think I've only had one comment, and that was from, I think, Stefan. But if you would all view the blog and comment on it, okay? and then we're gonna go kind of viral with the blog. We're gonna go crazy with it. But for now, you guys are my main way of getting it out there, getting some information to people with it. So, and by the way, the blog that I'm going to be posting today is going to be talking about some interesting things that you may not be aware of yet with regard to short sale and what's going on with foreclosures in the marketplace. So it will be something you'll be interested in looking at. Now, our special Masterminds lead gen update will be this coming Tuesday, the 20th of November, and you will receive email notification for that. It will be a 1-hour call. It'll be super interactive because I'm not going to have I'm not going to come prepared with a lesson to teach or anything. We're just going to ask questions and talk about what we're doing for lead gen, and it'll be someplace where each of you can help each other to be even better. So hopefully that will be a benefit to those of you who can attend. We will record it, okay? Now, okay, so your assignments for this coming up week then, it's a very short week, but we want you to have some time off with your family too. That's why we do this, right? I always say real estate is not my life, but it funds my life. And these are the reasons, family and holidays are the reasons that we have real estate as our great career, because we can pretty much do our own thing with it. So set up your role play, watch the lead gen video, hopefully today or tomorrow. Set up your role play schedule with your assigned partner. You should be contacting each other today. So you know how it is. If you don't do it today, then next week comes and it's time for the call and you haven't done anything. So set up with your role play partner today. And if you don't have a role play partner assigned, you will have by this afternoon. Please complete. Now today, we're going to do the business plan, the goals, the weekly planner, and the financial calculator. So you're going to do it roughly today while we're on this call. Please complete that and send it to me by the 19th so that if there's any questions, any issues, any problems, we can deal with it before we are coming back from Thanksgiving and ready to hit it again hard before the holiday. Have your, another thing is you need to have your sphere of influence or your center of influence lists ready to start prospecting like immediately. I think most of you already have those lists, but some of you who are coming to us from a largely REO background haven't had to use your center of influence list for a long time and you've had to redevelop them. So please make sure that you have those lists ready because that's going to be where we start calling people and doing our contacts per day. So have those ready for yourselves, okay? Are there any questions, any hands raised at this point? Okay, great. We're going to move on then. So let's get started. Now, this is going to be a little strange for you since we're all freaks about being independent contractors. But for today, at least for a period of time during this program, I want you to pretend that I am your boss. As of today, you work for me. I am the head of the sales and customer service department of a small business. My job, I have been hired, and my job is to improve productivity by 30%. Now, I don't know if any of you realize it, but most coaching programs, they kind of focus on 20%. Let's have a 20% increase over last year. Well, I ain't happy with that. And I've been hired to get a 30% increase in productivity, and you all work for me. So guess what that means? You each get to have a 30% increase in productivity average, at least 30%. If I don't complete my job, if I'm not successful in getting us to a 30% improved productivity, I get fired and the company goes away, which means you have no job either. So we are all terribly and extremely invested and connected in this project. Now, I have analyzed each of your profiles for those of you who sent them to me, which is almost everyone. I've analyzed each of them very carefully. I have in my mind and on your email assigning your role play partner, assigned goals to each of you. Some of those goals represent a larger than 30% increase simply because I feel that you are capable of doing that. You can change your goals once you see them and after our meeting today, but only upwards. You can't change them downwards without really proving to me that there is a real good reason. Based on your projections for the current year, you can increase them if you feel that you can do more. Now, when you first came to me, some of you had some very, very lofty goals. I had a couple who wanted to do 100, but they were coming from a place where they'd done where that would have been like a 300% increase or 200 or 100% increase for them. And that's a pretty big nut to crack. Possible? Yes. Probable? No. Most of you, but I'm telling you, I applaud you for having very high goals. And the goals that I set for you are very high, much higher than I think most people would think you could do. But I believe that you can do it. And if you want to shoot for 100, it's okay with me. That's great. I just want you to know that this is a place that I think is totally achievable with a little bit of a stretch. Now, some of you, when you came to me, were pretty complacent. You'd been doing the same number of transactions within one or two over and over and over. That stops today. Complacency is not something that we can deal with in this company anymore. We all have to be at our very best, functioning at absolutely the top of our game, doing things that we never thought were possible before. We're going to look carefully at what activities and actions are required to meet our 30% or more growth rate, because this is a have to. It's a have to for me as your boss, and it is a definite have to for you in your business. So here we go. By the end of this call, you will know what your production goal will be for 2013. You will have decided. I suggested you will decide. You will decide. You will know what your business plan is using real numbers and daily actions to help you reach that goal. You will know what your life will look like when you reach that goal. And you will know what your daily and weekly plan will be to achieve that goal. We're going to do all of that today. And it sounds like a big nut to crack. And believe me, it is. And if you don't believe it, you should see what Dan is doing right now. We're trying to make this absolutely the best thing you've ever seen. What you have to do now to be ready to make your 2013 goal a reality starting this week, because as we all know, especially when you're dealing with short sale, but no matter what you're dealing with, even when it's just a normal market, we're always on 90 days out, aren't we? On short sale, we are in reality 4 to 5 months out, but we're always 90 days out on what we do. And so as my employees, we need to make sure that the activities that you are doing from now till the end of the year are supporting your goals for 2013. And we're going to give you your personal calculator where you can show your numbers. It will help you calculate based on your very own ratios of success and efficiency what you can do and what you need to be doing every single day. By the time we get done with this meeting, our department, the short sale 911 department, is going to shine like the top of the Chrysler building. And if you're old enough to know where that movie line comes from, good for you. And if you're not, it comes from Annie. Okay? So any questions now? Any hands raised? Do we need to stop and answer any? Oh, there's a hand. Harold. He's probably going to tell me that he did send me his thing. Yeah. Hi, Harold. Hi, Harold. What's up?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Oh my God, you can actually hear me. No, I wanted to, are you recording this so we can listen to it later?
Yes, I am.
Perfect, because I still, okay, good. And then the other thing is I did send my profile, but I'm tracking with you. This is great.
Oh, good. Okay, so will you resend it to me again, my dear?
I'm going to, should I do it at SSAT at whatever it's called?
Sure, exactly.
No problem.
Great, thank you.
Okay.
Anybody else have a question right now? See how slick that worked? Okay, we're going to move on then. Okay.
Okay, now turn over.
Oh, now I'm going to turn it over to Dan again because this is his baby. So he's going to quickly explain to you how to use the calculator. Okay? Okay, here you go.
Thank you, Chris. It is an interactive webinar, so we're gonna shift in and out of PowerPoints and other slides. So just bear with me a second.
Can they all raise their hands at once?
They can all raise their hands at once.
Okay, so I'm going to talk while Dan's finding his way here. So I have a question for you, and if you will answer, if you raise your hand, that will be a yes to the question. If you done the homework that we asked you to do before coming here? Do you have your forms downloaded and have you worked on your own ratios? Anybody raise your hand if you've done that. Carolyn, you rock, girl. Okay, anybody else? Oh. Oh. All right, let's see. I can't see the whole screen, okay. So good. Okay, Harold did his. Harold, you rock. Suzanne, you rock. All right, excellent. I know it was a lot to do and sometimes overwhelming. I know Nancy was like, I don't know what this is, and that's the way some of you are going to feel. So that's why we're spending this time today to help you get going. What I would like you to do, you tell me when you're ready to move forward.
Yeah, I'm ready to move
forward. Are you ready? Okay,
mm-hmm.
So I'm going to turn this back over to Dan and then I'll be back.
Okay, everyone. This is the calculator tab 2 in the email that you received. That's the live template. And what we want to do is actually talk about it a little bit first, and then to actually get you to do a simple exercise, and then you can fill in blanks and so on and so forth as we talk through how to use this calculator. If you have printed out a copy of the actual calculator and have it in front of you. But there's several things, and I've got a slide in a minute where Christine will give you her simple rules to use for some of these boxes. But the way this calculator works is that you have at the top a code here that says complete these highlighted fields. So there's the plan year, which is what you're doing in green. So every place there's a green box on here. So all these, so this particular side are your expenses that you anticipate you will spend in 2013. To the right of it is your current year. So this morning I had a call from one of you, and we kind of stepped through this exercise, and they had prepared, most of you don't pay yourself a salary, but if you have admins that you pay a salary, you put it in. How much do you spend on lead generation? Occupancy may be the fees that your office charges you, plus your office rent. But that's what goes in occupancy. Technology is like, do you have internet expenses and you pay for those? Your phone is your cell phone bill typically, or if you've got other phone bills, goes there. Supplies, your education and dues, so your association dues, your your fees to Christine for the coaching, your MLS dues, and so on and so forth. Travel, you can either put your auto travel in here, or if you travel to go back and forth to, national meetings, mega camps, family reunions, those kinds of things, you can put it in there. You have auto insurance that you're going to pay every year, and auto fees, so put those in for last year. And then go create your new budget for next year based on what you plan on doing. And the way this calculator works is when you go through and actually fill out each one of these green boxes, it's an Excel sheet, so it totals it to bottom here. It automatically then fills it in at the top where you see expenses. So if I put in there, you're going to do $300 in lead generation total for the year, and well, this is not an active sheet here, but if that were an active sheet, then it would fill $300 in here. Let's say that you have $12,000 in expenses here. It actually puts $12,000 in this field here. So the next thing that you want to do is that if you know what you want to earn as a net income, let's say that you want to earn $85,000 as a net income. And when you hit that, it should enter it in there. And again, this is not an active field. So, but what it'll do is it'll take that 85,000, it'll add your 12,000 to it. So 85,000 plus 12,000 is $97,000. So that will go in as your gross revenue. So that's your GCI. So at this point in time, you have expenses, you know what you want to net. And by the way, the net, we don't try to account for your splits because it varies from company to company. But so if you have 85,000 here and you have 12,000 expenses, it's 97 that you need in GCI and gross revenue in order to cover all your expenses, and still earn 85,000. So add it to it. So this number becomes 97,000. And then after that, when you put in your average commission here and you put in your average sale price, so typically you're all going to have a 3% commission. In our market, in Stockton, it's about 135 average sales price, but Christine sells at a higher point, so hers might be 170. So this is your average sales price for each of the deals you're going to close next year. And then we're going to talk in a couple of minutes about these conversion rates. But this just says basically the conversion rate as an example. If I get an appointment, and I am actually let's say I get 65% of the time I get the appointment, and then if I convert that appointment into and convert it into a listing, then a listing taken, and then the average, and then that'll do the calculation that will tell me how many actual units I have to sell. So this calculator really does all the work for you. If you just fill in when you open it up on the site and you save it, you have to save it to get it to be interactive. And it's an Excel worksheet, so you're working in Excel. If you have a problem, you don't understand how it works, then call me and I'll step you through it. And we can either do it on a piece of paper first and then plug in the numbers, whichever will work best for you. But after you put all these numbers in, it will tell you that if you have an $85,000 net income goal, you have 12,000 expenses, you need 97,000 in GCI. I can tell you that turns out with an average sale price of 130,000 to be, 17 deals. So down here in terms of the numbers of sides you have to sell, and we're going to do a little exercise in a minute. That's the way it comes out. But what's really important is we've all worked in the past on how many deals did I do this year? How many deals do I want to do next year? And that is the simplest way to look at it. It's taught that way, in most coaching circles. But what we don't always know is how many how many appointments do we have to get in order to actually get that many listings and convert those listings or buyers sides to actually sold deals. Well, the bottom of this calculator is awesome in that if you go here, and Christine's going to cover some numbers for you in a minute here, but if you go here and let's say that for one lead requires you to make X contacts. So as an example, the number she's going to show you, it's 12. So if you need to get one single lead, you have to do 12 contacts. Then you need to make enough contacts if you want a lead a day. But in order to convert leads to appointments, you have to get 5 leads to get one appointment. So when you put 12 here and 5 here, and you multiply them against one another, you put the number in here, however many contacts it takes you to get a lead, and then how many leads do you have to get in touch with before you actually get the appointment. It'll tell you how many contacts up here. It automatically calculates this field for you. And then it puts the number automatically over here for you. You just put the green in, it'll calculate it, it'll put it over here. And then and in the particular case, it's going to be 60 for the example that Christine will show you. And then it'll tell you, in order to get the numbers of appointments you have to have here to get your number of sold sides will be calculated for you here. If you multiply that number 60, say by let's say you need by the appointments that you have to have. Let's say you have to have 20 of them, then that'll tell you how many contacts for the year you have to make. And then at these numbers, you don't do anything in yellow. Remember, you just enter green and you enter orange, and it will tell you. We assume that you're not going to work, you're not going to work 12 full months. So we take 90% of the 12 months. That means you're only going to work 10.8. If you want to take more time off, then change that percentage in this number. And if you only work 10 months a year, fine. If you work full 12 months and you're awesome, then 12 would go in there. And
you're
then
sick.
You're sick. So then the calculation that works for you says if I'm working 10.8 months a year and I've got 3,000 contacts that I have to make for the year, then it will divide 10.8 into 3,000. It'll tell you how many contacts per month. Same thing, if you're working 90% of the 4 weeks or 3.6 weeks, it'll divide it into the number of contacts per month, and it'll tell you how many contacts a week. And then if you take the 5 days in a week at 90%, it's 4.5 days. It'll divide that into the number of contacts per week, and it'll tell you how many contacts a day you have to make.
To make your goal for the whole year.
To make your goal for the whole year. And then it automatically tells you how many deals a month you have to close in order to hit your goal, your GCI goal that you put up here. So that's how the whole concept of the calculator works. Now there's a couple other formulas that Christine wants to go over with you. So let me see if I can pull that slide back up again for you. But before I do that, let me just take a look and answer a couple of questions here, because I see, Harold, you still have your hand raised. So if you don't want your hand raised, then click it off. Who has a question about the calculator? And keep in mind, if you don't understand it in the call, then you can actually come back and call me and I'll help you through it.
Well, we still have a lot more to do on it.
Right, and we have a lot more to talk about it on the call. But right now at this point, is there anyone who wants to ask a question before we move on? Okay, Suzanne, I see your hands raised. I've unmuted you, so please tell us what your question is.
Okay, can you hear me okay?
Yes, perfectly.
Okay. It's funny, I felt like I was jumping up and down. Pick me, pick me. Okay. So my question is, I don't have very good numbers for 2012, but I have all my numbers from 2011. I don't know if you want me just to guess, or if I should use 2011's expenses, because it's going to be pretty, it's going to change a lot, but I do have all that in place. So should I just wait and do this when I have everything I need in place, or do I use last year, or what would you recommend?
Well, I'm going to answer that because this is the way I have to do it. We know you don't have your end of the year 2012, but you probably, if you're watching yourself at all, you probably have a pretty good idea. And based on the profile that you sent me, Suzanne, you said, this is my goal for this year, and this is how many I've done so far. And that was back in October. So I can kind of guess at what you're probably going to end up with. And so you can guess for today, figure that whatever your percentages of expenses were in 2011, they're probably going to be similar, unless you've done some drastic changes one way or the other. They're probably going to be similar to what they were then. And then just kind of take, I'm guessing that I'm going to, I've already done 35, and I'm guessing that I'm going to close another 10 by the end of the year. So I'll probably end up with 45, and my expenses will probably be this percentage rate of whatever. So just kind of guess for today, and then you're going to be able to plug them in to go once we're done this week. Okay?
Okay.
Great.
All right. Anyone else? I'm going to mute you again, Suzanne, so we don't get the feedback.
Okay.
No, sorry. But we've had past experiences. Those that's been on prior calls with us, we know how that works. So go ahead and click on your little hand so it goes away. Anyone else have a question about the calculator before we go to the next step, which is a little exercise we're going to do? Okay, so let me see if I can take you back then to the PowerPoint.
Okay, while he's working on that, is that okay if I pop in?
Sure.
Okay, so while we're working on the PowerPoint and getting it back up for you, what I'd like you to do, and this is each of you, so please make sure that you have, you know, a basic knowledge of math or a calculator on your phone or something in front of you. Also a paper, you know, a couple of clean sheets of paper to take notes on. And then what I would like for you to do now is, just as Suzanne was asking, I would like you to write down what do you think the number of deals you will have and close by the end of this year. So I'd like you to write down that figure. All right. And then I would like you to, so if everybody's got that done, then I'd like you to times it times 1.3%. So you're just going to times it by 1.3. So for instance, if you did 20 transactions last year, by the way, you can do this with GCI too. Some people think in numbers of transactions, some people think in GCI. If you know your GCI was, I don't know, 85,000, and you want to do, and we want to do 30% more, then you times 85 times 1.3, and it will give you what you want to do for your GCI goal for next year. All right. And if you want numbers of transactions, okay, you did 20 transactions, you want to do 30% more, so it's 1.3 times 20. It would then be 26 transactions. See how smart I am? I can take that off the top of my head. Don't ask me what 1.3% is of 47 or anything, because, you know, that would be beyond my ability to think. Okay, so I want you to look at that now. Hopefully everybody has done that. So you took your number of transactions that you think you're going to end up with by the end of this year, you times it times 1.3, and that gives you what your goal is for next year. Although some of you, the goal I chose for you will be considerably more, because I think you're capable of doing more. Some of you perhaps not. So, you know, this is just an exercise. It's not like you're signing your name in blood or anything. But remember that today you're working for me. So I'm trying to get your production up so that you are as more successful than you have ever been in the last several years at least. Okay. All right. So once we do that, oh, you want me to time out?
Yeah,
Okay.
just one quick time out here. So on the slide that's on there now, I just corrected at the bottom there. You can use GCI if you know your total GCI, or you can do it by numbers of transactions and then do the math, and it'll tell you how many transactions you have to have. The definitions that Christine uses, and we call these the Christine rule. I mean, KW has a rule, and Remax and Coldwell Banker and others may have different rules that they use. But if you think in terms of, you know, the conversion rates, what I showed you in that calculator is when you figure out how many calls it takes to get a lead, how many leads it takes to get an appointment, then you fill those in that green area. But here's Christine's rules. The number of contacts to get appointments needed. She works from a premise of 60 contacts to get one appointment. It might take you 40, it might take you 80, but these are factors you want to, when you fill in that worksheet, to put yours in. But if you don't know, then use these numbers: 60 contacts to get one appointment. The listings to appointments taken. So 60. So if you get X appointments, so say you get 100 appointments, and you take 65% of that, then that's how many listings you would take. So you'll put that figure in one of the green blocks on that left side of the calculator, and then of the listings taken, the percent of them you will sell. So she says that, and I've talked to agents that say I get an appointment, I only convert 50% of them into a listing. Others say higher than 65, but Christine's rule is 65 unless you do better or less. And then of those listings that you've taken, what percent of them will you sell? Christine's rule is 85% of the time you should close the listings you take. And this program, should really help drive you at least to that number. I see some agents that they get a listing, they close, 90% or 95% of them. So I wanted to put this in here because when you go back and view the video of this webinar, you will have an explanation of these calculation definitions, and you can then calculate the ones. You can either modify them or use the ones that Christine's put in here.
Okay, so I'm going to jump in here because basically those are, after coaching for years myself and coaching others, many others, those are kind of what I see as the average for a normal, typical agent. If you're going on 10 listing appointments and you get 6 of them, then that's your 65% success rate. I'm not saying that's good. I'm saying that's average, okay? And if you know yours is far less than that, all of these things depend on what area you live in, what experience you've had, if you're using scripts, if you're not. We're going to get into all of that, but this is just the default numbers. So if you're brand new to the business, which a couple of you are on this call, then use those numbers as your default, okay? And then as you get more and more efficient, you will be able to change those numbers so that you're going to get a lot more transactions at a lot less time because you're becoming so much more efficient by using the system that we're selling to you or that we're teaching to you. Okay, so there you go. Now, there's a couple of things that I'm going to go back up here for a minute. All right, so I was just telling you to write down what you think the end of this year is going to bring you in numbers of transactions or GCI, times it times 1.3, see what that is, okay? I want to know that number. I'm going to give you an opportunity to share that with us one at a time. There is no right or wrong, okay? I just want you to be able to share it. Now, maybe not even the number, but I want to know what the difference is, okay? How much more money will you make next year when you increase your production by 30%? That's the number I want. How much more money. So if you are calculating this, right? So let's say you did 20 transactions last year. Next year, you're going to do 26. What's your average commission? Write that down right now. What's your average commission? Let's say that it's 5,000 to make it easy on me. Okay. So if it's 5,000, you're going to do 6 more transactions this year than you did last year. That's $30,000. Now, $30,000 is a lot of money. What are you going to do? What does that $30,000 mean to you? So that's what I want to know. I'm going to give you a few minutes here, and these are the things I want you to be able to share with each other at the end of this 5-minute period. I want to know how many more transactions you're going to do this coming year, how much that means to you in money, and how that is going to change your life. Either how you're going to use it, or what it's going to do to your mindset, or how it's going to improve your life financially, or what doors it's going to open for you. I'm going to give you 5 minutes to do those calculations and be prepared to say, this is how much more I'm going to make, and this is what it's going to do to change my life in 2013. So your 5 minutes starts now. If you're ready to share, raise your hand, okay? And that way, if we don't have to take the whole 5 minutes, we won't. But if we do, we will. This is your 2-minute warning. Oh, I'm sorry. That was your 3-minute warning. How do you know that? Oh.
I'm watching you.
Oh. Good. Okay, raise your hand if you're ready.
Now they have 2 minutes.
Now you have 2 minutes. This is your 2-minute warning. 1 minute. Do some of you need to have tutoring? Okay, so in case you've forgotten, write down what you think you're going to do at the end of this year. If you didn't do anything last year, that's okay too. Just write down what you're going to do this in 2013. Okay. If you did something last year, then add times it times 1.3, and you should get what you will be doing for next year, unless I upped your goal, which I did on some of you. And then let us know how much more money you're going to make by just raising your income by 30%, and what that is going to do to change your life, what you're going to use it for, how it's going to impact you, what's going to be good about it. Okay. Oh, I see a few more hands. We got like 30 seconds. I should be playing Jeopardy music. Here, I'll hum. Da 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 da. Okay.
All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to start with the hands that are raised. Go to the next slide, please.
Oops. So we'll call on you one at a time, and we'll just mute you. So some of you who don't have your hands raised yet, we'll grab you in a minute. So we're going to start with Betty. Really, we are. Okay, Betty, you are unmuted. How are you today? Betty, are you there? Unmute yourself. You might have muted yourself on your phone or your computer. I can't hear you, darling. Okay, we'll come back to you. Okay, Betty, figure out how to unmute yourself, okay? All right, Carolyn, we're going to start with you. Hi there.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you, yes.
Good. Okay, I'm not certain how if I did this correctly, but being that I cheated and I called Dan earlier this morning.
You're our guinea pig today, is that it?
Because I just couldn't get it downloaded correctly, the calculator.
Okay. All right, so what you're going to be your improved amount of money that you're going to make?
My improved amount of money, I came up with $35,000.
How exciting! And what?
Well, no, okay,
and what is that going?
That's my total.
What?
That's what this year is plus 30%. Or did
Perfect.
you just want the 30%?
Perfect. So what is that going to mean to you? What will you do with that $30,000? $35,000.
Bank it.
Okay. So it's important to you to put it in the bank. How will that make you feel?
Much better.
What?
I'm one that likes to see the numbers in the account.
Right, right.
I like that.
So that gives you a feel. Why do you like that? What does that mean to you? Ultimately,
It's
what is that going to make you feel like?
Well, it's just through my upbringing and in what my husband and I have always done. We've always liked to see the numbers. It's that cushion, that security that I feel having that.
That's fantastic. Thank you. Congratulations in advance on a wonderful year in 2013. And thank you for sharing that with us. Okay. All right.
Okay.
So let's see. Next, we're going to go to Betty. Are you ready yet? I don't know why we can't hear Betty. I feel bad. Okay, Dennis, we're going to move to you.
Me?
Oh, there you are.
Hey.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
So my number is 33,000.
Wow.
And it's gonna pay for a trip to Portugal that I've already got scheduled for August.
Woohoo! Perfect. You planned for this already, huh? How
Well,
exciting.
not really, but
So
yeah,
tell me,
pretty.
Dennis, what's important about going to Portugal to you?
I actually I went to a fundraiser this last spring and drank too much wine and bought this trip to Portugal. So I need to pay for that, which I've already paid for, but I'm going to pay it back to my account.
Okay.
And then it's just going to be a fun time with my wife and myself and one other couple. So it'll be awesome.
Oh, that's so great. So great. So that'll pay for is that all it will pay for? Is your trip to Portugal going to cost you 33 grand?
No, it's a 2-week trip, so we'll be paying off some student loans that I took out for my kids to go to college.
Oh, great. How super. Well, that is fantastic. Congratulations in advance on a great 2013. Thanks for sharing
Thank you.
that with us, Dennis.
You bet.
I'm so proud of you already. All right, so we're going to move on to Flo Robinson. What have we got? Hold on a minute. We'll let us unmute you. Hello there. Flo is going to have a great year. I can't wait to hear this figure.
Hi, can you hear me?
I can hear you. What is your figure?
I am going to do 26 transactions, which will be the most I've ever done.
That's so exciting. And what will be the difference, like money wise? How much more will you make?
Well, if I did my calculation right, almost double.
Okay, so that'll be double what you made last year. So it will be approximately, just give me an approximation of the actual amount. Let's see. I wish I had I've got your thing here in front of me somewhere. But what's your average sales price, Flo? I mean, what's your average commission?
3%.
Okay, but in dollars, what's your average commission? Like, what's your average sales price?
Net or gross?
Just sales price. Just tell me, in your community, what's your average sales price? What's your average deal that you do?
$225.
Okay, $225. So if you made 6%, that's if you made 3%, that's $6,600. And you're gonna and so if you had 13 times $6,600, because you're like doubling, right?
Yeah.
I may be overstating this, but oh my gosh, that's $85,000 more than you made this year.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Does that sound right? $85,000. I wish we could all clap. Everybody shake your hand. That's so amazing. So what will that $85,000 do for you next year, Flo?
Oh gosh, it would enable me to get out of debt, number one, and start investing again and purchasing because I'm renting right now.
Yay. Oh, how amazing. So you're renting right now and you're going to be able to, so that would make you able to purchase.
Correct.
And so what will that what will that do for you? I mean, what does that do for you? What does that make your heart go pitty pat? Because it's making mine go pitty pat for you right now.
I'm starting to sweat.
And that's a good thing, right?
Yeah.
Well, just think what that could do. I mean, that is just amazing. That is just amazing. And I know you can do it. Flo has a very interesting story, as do you all, which I'm not going to share with you right now because we don't have time. But one of these days, maybe on the mastermind, we'll kind of tell each other where we come from and all of that. But awesome, awesome. How exciting. What a great year you're going to have. Thank you for sharing that with us.
Thank you.
Fantastic. Okay. Let's see. Betty, raise your hand if you're ready and I can unmute you. Okay. And let's see here. Harold, let's go to you. All right, Harold, are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Okay, great. What have you got?
Okay, the transactions I want to do at least 14 for next year. I've had a very bad year this year. I had 2. Last year I had 7.
Wow, so 14 is a huge jump.
It's a jump, but it's what I was thinking I was going to get that at least this year, but a lot of time was wasted on family issues and other stuff. But I think I'm extremely on track, very systematized, and I think I can do it. I think I can do the 14. And now it's like 7,000 for each one.
Okay,
is my
so
average.
let's see
It's
here.
like 98,000.
14 times 7 equals 98,000. Okay, but you did like 7 already. I mean that you're
No. I
extra
did
would
20.
be about 50
I did 20.
grand, right?
Yeah. In 2012, which is crap, I've made 20,000.
Okay, so you're going to actually almost triple your income. Well, you're
Easily,
gonna quadruple it actually.
I really feel like I will.
Oh, and I believe you. So Harold, what are you gonna do with that? What are you gonna do with that money? What are you gonna do to make
My
yourself?
big why. My big why. By the way, I've got it typed up. Now I'm going to make it huge. I'm going to keep this board in front of me that has my big why, and also on my calendar, on my little business calendar, it'll flash big why all day long. Okay, I got to pay my bills, get debt free. I'd love to get a loan mod on my house.
Okay.
I'd love to have a girlfriend where I can pay money for and maybe get married, that kind of stuff. Fix up my house, be able to entertain people, that kind of stuff. And what it'll do for me, it'll just move me to the next echelon where I should have been, 3 years ago.
Isn't that I just think that's such an important point that you realize that it's totally doable, that you know you can do it, and now you're actually going to do it. And
Right.
and having that achievement, what does that feeling of achievement, what does that make you feel?
It makes me feel good that my value is in God, but besides that, it makes me feel like I'm cooperating finally, with the system. I'm cooperating with God and the people God puts in my place to help me get there, so I can do stuff to help other people. That's the main thing, is I want to help other people and add value to their life.
That's thank you so much for sharing that, and we are all so happy for you. Awesome. Okay, I'm gonna mute Harold now, and I'm gonna go back to Betty, whose hand is raised. We're gonna give this another shot. Hold on.
She's having a problem. Send her that.
Oh.
Click send.
Okay, Betty.
That should let her unmute.
That should let you unmute now. Let me see. Wait a minute. Let me just wait. Hold on a second. You're being difficult. Not you, but your situation.
Try to do. Betty, try pound 29 on your phone.
Try pound 29 pound on your phone. Or however it is that you're getting to us. Okay, I'm going to try somebody else because Betty's phone is being difficult. Okay. We're going to go to Mary Buckner. Hi, Mary. Can you hear me okay? Talk to me, girl. Hello, Mary Buckner. Where are you?
All right, we'll come back.
Okay, we'll come back to Mary.
We're going to go to
Sandy, we're going to go to Sandy Woes, one of my favorite people. All right, Sandy, tell us.
Hello.
Hi, we can hear you.
Oh, good. Okay, well, first I want to tell you that the one thing I found out on this exercise, which I already knew, but really gave me another dose of it, is I am not a numbers person. I'm a people person. So this really puts me out of my comfort zone and drives me right over the edge. But I did work on it.
Well, I appreciate you saying that and admitting it because many of us are in the same boat, and Dan will help you. So just very simply, do you know how much more you will do next year than you did last year?
Well, last year I didn't have a good year at all. I took from June to December off.
Okay.
Ron had surgery, so I didn't work. And then, of course, I made an office change in March. But I did do the transactions currently closed year to date. Is that what you wanted us to do times 1.3?
Uh-huh.
Okay, well, that came out to 36.4.
Okay.
Now, were you supposed to project to the end of the year or just do close year to date?
Just either way is fine. Tell
Okay.
me the difference. If you do 36.4 next year, by the way, I remember what I put down for you for what I think you're going to do next year. Do you want to know what it is?
Yeah.
54.
Oh, I can do that.
You can absolutely do it. Absolutely do it. So my thing, so let's pretend that you did somewhere around 30 this year, right?
Yeah.
So you're going to do 24 more for next year, and our average commission is what, 3,500 to 5,000?
Around 6,000 when I did my averages on the 20.
Really? So you're working, well, you're in Tracy, you're a little higher price point. So 6 times 24 equals 144,000, Sandy Woes. More money that you are going to make next year than you made this year.
That's terrific.
How fantastic is that? So what does that mean to you? What are you going to do with that?
Well, I want to help fund home ownership for my kids, so help both of them get into owning their own homes.
How great. What a great goal.
And I'd like to take more time off work and travel more with Ron.
Perfect.
I think having the additional income means I hire another staff person so that I can have that freedom.
Right. And ultimately, what's that going to do for you?
And do more charity work. So what was your last question, Christine?
So ultimately, how's that going to make you feel? How's it going to impact your life? It sounded like you were saying more freedom.
Yes. Less stress, more freedom, more time.
Congratulations.
Yeah, so it'll enable me to hire the additional staff to be able to take the additional time off.
Very exciting. Thank you for sharing, Sandy. That's awesome. All right, I'm going to mute you again. Now, it tells me that I have several people on unmute, so I want to go back up and see if Betty's off of mute. Betty, can you talk to me? Okay, oh, dang it. This is pissing me off.
Yeah, so Betty, you can't say that on.
I can't say that? Yes, I can. Okay, so let's see.
Let's go to Maria.
Okay, Maria, are you... Okay, Maria, you are unmuted. Maria, are you there? Okay, let's go down. Let's see about Mary. We may not be able to get through to you all, which is making me sad. So, Mary, can you talk to me? Mary. All right, let's go to Nancy then. Okay, Nancy, are you on?
Yes, I am.
Great. So Nancy and I work together. And Nancy, I reserved making a goal for you because I want you to make your own. But what do you think your goal is, and what is that going to mean to you?
Well, what my goal is exactly what it was since I've been at this about, 5 months now?
Right.
So I really didn't know what numbers to use.
Okay.
So I kind of did 2 different ways, assuming that my goal is to close for a month. but
Fantastic.
in 5 months, I've only closed roughly one a month. So I'm not sure if that's reflected in the fact that I just started or
That you're basically a buyer's agent. Yeah.
yeah, that too.
So, okay. So let's
but I'm also
go ahead.
I'm also calculating in the percentage of, getting listings for you as well.
Right. Good.
So I came up with one figure and then I didn't like it.
Okay. So tell us what you want the figure to be.
I want the figure to be 44 closings, but
that is exactly what I had in my head for you as well.
Oh, okay.
So that would be, let's say that would be, by the time we get through the year, that's probably 18 more than what you did this year. But of course, you had a short year. So
Exactly.
let's say 18 times 3,500 equals $63,000.
Mm-hmm.
$63,000 more than you made this year. Pretty good raise, huh?
Right.
All
That's
right.
kind of what I was thinking would be more realistic, figuring out these numbers for me at this time. Yeah.
That's perfect. So what does that mean to you, and what will you do with it?
Well, we would take care of just a little bit of debt. I would have an amazing cruise for my upcoming next year's birthday, and I would travel a lot and see my grandkids and my kids, my own daughters with my husband.
So
and then also invest.
Oh yeah, and invest. Okay. So ultimately, it seems like there's a theme going here. What does that ultimately mean to you? How does that make you feel?
Successful, amazing, fulfilled.
Ooh, I like all those words very much. Fulfilled. What a great word. Love it.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much, Nancy. And I'm proud to be associated with you because you rock. Okay?
Thank you.
All right. So I'm going to mute Nancy. So let's see. We've got, Scott. Let's talk to Scott. All right, Scott, what have you got for me?
I've got about an additional 16,000, which I'll use for my Alaska and Puerto Rico vacations next year.
Okay, now it's an additional, did you say 18 or 15?
16.
Oh, 16. See, I'm deaf. Okay, I'm using mine for a new hearing aid. Just kidding. Okay, Alaska and Puerto Rico vacations, two opposite ends of the climate sphere.
Exactly.
How great. And are those already booked?
They're not booked yet. They're in my business plan, though.
All right, fantastic. So it sounds like travel is a way that you kind of reward yourself when you do well. What is that going to, how's that going to make you feel? And what is it going to do for you ultimately?
It's going to make me feel great. That's how I unwind, get away from everything. So, yeah, it's just when you get back from those vacations, you just feel totally relaxed. So
well, and once you tell people you're going on a vacation, what always happens? Everybody has to work with you right then. So then you're going to do even more deals because you're planning a vacation, right?
Yep.
All right. Thank you for sharing with us, Scott. That's amazing. Good for you. Susan, I'm going to unmute you. All right. This is Draper. Hi, Susan. Tell me.
Too much time redoing numbers, listening to everybody here.
It's so exciting, isn't it?
It's very exciting because I'm already looking at my best year ever. I will close 31 sides this year. And
congratulations.
When I looked at, I have the Dave Norberg board on my wall. I created that bulletin board the first time I took bold. And when I counted up my pins, I have had 38 listings this year, 48 listing appointments, and to get me a gross revenue this year of $75,000. My point of sale was a little bit lower, my average sale price. So my goal for next year is to prospect at a little higher home range over my normal at 225, which is right in par with my community, and to have a sold dollar volume of $9,700,000 and change.
How
that will push me to where I can take the part-time operations partner. I stole your title. I love that. I can take my new operations partner and give her a solid salary in the coming year. So instead of paying her for per side, I can pay her a regular salary. I will then put myself on a regular salary because I'll be grossing $290,000 for the whole year, paying off all my credit cards, paying off the equity line of credit on my house, and starting to purchase investment properties to better my
Fantastic. So happy for you. That congratulations on a great year this year, by the way. And just think, add 30% and look what you're going to do next year. That's just amazing. Congratulations. And thank you so much for sharing. Guys, I'm so sorry, but we only have 13 minutes left and we have a lot to talk about. So here's what I would like you to do. Would you all please email me right now? Email us to STAT what your improvement is and what you are going to do with it. And then I'll put out a little thing and share it with everyone, okay? And that way we can know all of your wins. I'm so sorry that I couldn't get to everyone, and Betty, I'm especially sorry that I couldn't get to talk to you. But we'll share with everyone because this is so important and so exciting for us. All right, let us move on. Okay, so I have a story to tell you, very quick one. Okay, so my son my son Rob is my oldest son, and he works for a trucking company that is associated with the railroad. Now, my son is such a hard worker. He has 4 daughters and a wife, and he is it works his butt off every day for these guys. They work him 18 hours a day quite often, and they just gave him a promotion. He's worked for this company now for a couple of years. No, actually a year and a half. He started out making $32,000 a year. $32,000, not even as much as most of you are going to have an improvement over next year. He is 41 years old, by the way, with 4 children. So he works full-time. His wife works full-time. He just got, because he is such a dedicated employee, he just got a promotion. So instead of just handling the state of Utah now, he's handled Utah, Idaho, Wyoming, and Montana for this trucking company. And he spent a week in training. He is now back to working, 12 to 18 hours a day, trying to, run all of these trucks and everything, make sure that his people are taken care of. And do you know what they gave him for a raise for doing that job? $2,000 a year. So now he's had a couple of raises already, but he makes $43,000. Now, this is why we have the greatest job in the world. Do we not? And if you agree with me, raise your hand and then unraise it. Okay, so that I'm not worried about if I'm answering questions or not. We have absolutely the best job in the world. And why is that? Because we get to determine what we get for a raise this year. We get to say, I'm going to give better customer service to more people. I'm going to up my price percentage by prospecting in a different area. I'm going to expand my area. It is completely up to us, isn't it? So since you are my employees today, just think what you can all give yourselves for a raise. Some of you have already shared with us. It makes me very emotional. So congratulations on having a great year. Okay, so let's go into the actual calculator now. And for those of you who, like Sandy, have realized that their numbers challenged, we can say it's easy, but I know it's not for everyone. So don't get discouraged. Just go with it the way that we're showing you, and then we'll help you with it on an individual basis when we need to. Okay? So go ahead. Dan's going to take the reins.
All right. So what we want to do is I'm gonna put in just some raw numbers here. This is this, and I'm betting money this time that it's going to let me enter information, which I'm still not sure it is. It should be an Excel sheet.
Hey, we're working. We're working. By the way, while he's pulling this up, I'm going to tell you a little simple formula that has worked for me for years, and some of you will recognize this formula. Whether you work with buyers or sellers, it doesn't matter. The main thing is the number of transactions to me, or the GCI. So when you're trying to set your goals, if you want to make a certain GCI and you want to have, and that equates to a certain number, like let's say 60. Okay, let's say 50. If you know that you need to close 50 transactions, then what you do is in your plan, you decide that you're going to take 50 listings. If you take 50 listings, whether your transactions come from buyers or sellers, if you plan to take 50 listings, you will hit your goal of 50 transactions. It's just a rule. Okay, so there you go. Go ahead, Dan.
Okay, guys, this is the example calculator, and I'm going to show you how it works and a couple of tweaks. If you have your blank calculator sheet, take it out and put it in front of you, and then make notes, and then later I will speak to each of you individually who have trouble actually entering it. So the first thing you want to do is go try to put in the information on the left side here for the current year for your expenses. So let's say you don't have any. I'm going to change these so you see how easy it is. So let's say you had no salary. You didn't pay yourself a salary. You don't have an admin or anybody you pay. You did $1,200 in lead generation. You did, let's say you had an office fee of $600, $50 a month. Your technology, which is your internet and other things, $1,200. Your phone, let's say it's $1,500, and so forth. Supplies $400. Education dues $1,000. Your gas and travel $800. We're expecting a reduce in gas prices, I hope. And then your insurance and other auto expenses of $2,400. So last year, or your current year, you spent $9,100. So what you're going to do now is look at this year, and it's important to do this piece first because it's going to put some numbers in at the top for you. So you're not going to hire anybody, and you're not going to pay yourself a salary, but you're going to spend some more money on lead generation. You're going to take a little bigger office. You're going to add some technology resources and tools, a faster internet, whatever it may be. You're going to increase your phone. You're going to keep your phone at $1,500. You're going to buy more supplies. Education and dues, you're going to have to spend that $1,000 for the association MLS. Your gas is going to run you $1,200 this year, so maybe we won't see a price decrease. And you'll see a little bit of reduction in your insurance because of safe driving. So what that just did was calculate for me my expenses in my coming year are $12,100. That's $12,100 is what I'm forecasting in my 2013 year plan. See what it did? It automatically populated it up here. So I know now from my net income, if I want to earn, I'm gonna clear this out for right now, and I'm gonna put 90,000 in there just to show you the change. I heard some numbers that sounded like this when we were talking. So when I put 90,000 in this calculator and hit enter, it now says that I have to have 90,000 plus 12,200. So my gross GCI, my gross income, that is the 3% I get of all the deals that I sell, is going to be $102,100. So from there, the calculator will do the rest of the work. If you want to do some comparison to what you did this year, then you can look at it and say, well, I did 90,000 in GCI. My average commission was 3%. My sold volume was 2,000. There's no calculation going on here. You're just putting in raw numbers of what you did this year if you know them. If you don't, you want my help to figure them out, let me know. So I did 2,700,000 because I did 10 transactions. My average sales price was 270,000. But these are the factors we talked about before. So from a listing appointment standpoint, say I did 30 appointments and I only got 15. That means I did a 50%. This year I did a 50%. So I got half the appointments I made. I only got to list 15 of them. And then of the 15 I got, I sold 10. I closed 10. So that's a 67%. And the reason it's important to understand this is you increase these numbers. Like over here, I'm going to change that to 65 and 85 that Christine suggested. But this is just something like you did here. It gives you something to look at this year, and then how's that going to relate to what I'm going to do this coming year, I'm in 2013. So at this point, we've done our expenses. They populated in here. I know I want to have a net of 90,000. That's before I pay my splits. So that means my GCI is 90,000 plus 12,100 or $102,100. So when I go down this side, if I believe that I'm going to get a 3% commission, I leave this at 3%. So when I put 3% in there and hit it, and I'm going to zero these out so you can see how the formula works. So I'm going to get 3% commission. My average sales price I'm going to do is $200,000. Okay, so that just told me that to get my $102,100 of GCI up here at 3%, I have to do a total sales volume of $3,403,000 if my sales price is $200,000. And that translates into 17 sides. So it's telling me how many sides. So over here, this year, I only did 50% conversion. Christine says you ought to be, on average, it's around 65, so your minimum ought to be 65%. So when I do that, that tells me at 65%, then
so then it tells you how many listing appointments.
Right, listing appointments I have to make. And then of those listing appointments that I get, if I say instead of doing the 67%, I'm going to do the 85% that Christine recommended, then that says that I'm going to do 17 sides in order to get the $200,000, which translate to get the $3,000,004 gross, which translates to the $102,400.
Okay,
so,
but it tells you that you have to have 31 listing appointments a year to get that many.
Right.
You see how that works, everyone? So it totally calculates it for you.
Right. So this is and it rounds up to the 31. That's why I put this block here. So out of all this, I know that my goal is $102,100. I'm going to net 90,000. I'm going to do the 3% on commission, an average 200 sale. 85% I'm going to convert sell. 65% of my appointments I'm going to turn into listings, and that means I've got to get 31 listings for the year.
Okay, can I ask a question?
Yes.
Because I know somebody else is wanting to ask this besides me. Mm-hmm. What if my average sales price is $150,000?
Okay, so if I go to 150 and my average sales price, then now I have to do 23 transactions. I have to get 41 appointments to do that.
Whoa! See how cool that is, you guys? See, no matter where you live, no matter what your average is, you can plug it in and it will calculate the whole thing for you. So then continue.
Right. So now that I know I have to do 41 appointments, what this does at the bottom, and let's use the rough guideline that we've shared with you. If you know that if you get a lead every, let's just change this number. Instead of every 12, it takes you 15 contacts. And then, so it takes you 15 contacts to get a lead. And then of the 5 leads, it takes, after every 5 leads you've called, you get 1 appointment. It'll automatically now, I changed this from 12 to 15. If I use 12 times 5, I get 60, right? Now that I put 15 in there, another voila, is it takes me 75 contacts to get 1 appointment. And that's based on me having 41 appointments. So 41 times, it does the calculation for you. 41 times 75 says that I have to make 3,080 contacts during the year. And it's not on the 60, it's on 75 over here now. But to get in the total in a year, I have to have 3,080 contacts in order to get my 41 appointments that lead to these numbers for me. And then if we go back and do the math, just like I told you before, at 90% of 12 months is 10.8 months. Divided into this number says that I have to do 285 contacts a month. In 3.6 weeks of the month I work, divided into 285 says I have to get 79 contacts per week. For the 4.5 days I'm going to work, divided into the 79 contacts a week, I have to do 18 contacts a day.
Which is a piece of cake.
A piece of cake, if you do what we're going to tell you next. And what that really says, that in order to hit my number of $102,000, whoops, too far down, I need 2 transactions a month. So it gets you back to the mindset of transactions per month.
Okay. Any questions?
Any questions on that? I see a few hands still raised, but I'm going to look again and see if anyone has any questions on the calculator. Okay. I'm just going to, since hands were still raised, Susan, did you have a question?
No.
Okay, I'm going to mute you back. But if you don't mind, put your hand down for us. Sandy Woes. Sandy, do you have a question? Your hand is still raised.
It is? Oh, the arrow says it's down.
Oh, there you go.
Now is it down?
It is down.
Okay.
Yes, thank you. And
I saw Betty's hand just come up.
All right, we're going to see if Flo. Flo, do you have a question? Okay, I'm going to assume Flo doesn't have. And Betty, we've been trying. I so hope we. It still says you have to have a PIN number, and I'll talk you through that when I get in touch with you. So what I'm going to do is step back to the rest of the presentation so Chris can wrap up for you. So I'm going to close this out here, and I'm going to reopen this PowerPoint. And Christine, I'm going to hand it back to you at this point in time.
Okay, I know you guys can't applaud or anything, and I know some of you are overwhelmed, but this is freaking genius, and Dan did this just for us. So when you get a chance, tell him thanks, because you're going to love this once you get used to using it a bit.
Call me for help.
And please call Dan, Sandy, if you have any questions you want to talk to him about. You can call him at 209-986-8999. Okay, so I wanted to share with you, as we're winding up here, the secrets of the best of the best. Because, of course, now we segue from you need, what was it they needed? 18 contacts a day. Yours is going to be a little different. Now, I got to tell you something. I typically do between 75 and 90 transactions a year. And and I only have to make 22 contacts a day. Now, why is that? Because my efficiency is very high. Whereas many people, it takes them 60 contacts to get an appointment. It only takes me 13 because of the people I'm calling and because I've done this for a long time and I'm used to using the scripts. So you can see that efficiency is so very important to how successful you can be. Because if I can make 22 contacts a day and do 100 transactions a year, so can you. So it's very, very simple when you cut it down to the numbers. So the secrets of the best are this. One is they lead generate every single day that they work or what they put into their plan. I lead generate 4 days a week. So I lead generate the same time every day. It cannot be optional. Lead generation is the whole reason we time block. It's the whole 80-20 principle. It's everything. So if you don't do lead generation, you're not going to have any more transactions than you did last year because you're waiting for referrals and you can't control that. Okay. The only thing you control is your lead generation. So lead generation should be done at the same time every day. If you're not getting the numbers, then add 2 evenings a week, but do it. Schedule it in. Same day, same time. 2 nights a week. Number 3, define the best time to get your appointments. You know when the best time to get an appointment is? When you just got one. So you're lead genning away, nothing. Suddenly you get an appointment. And what do most people do? They go, oh, I got an appointment. I don't have to work anymore. No, because the next call is usually also an appointment. So don't quit calling after you make an appointment, okay? Know your numbers and your ratios, which is the whole purpose of this meeting today. Know your numbers and your ratios. It is critically important to your ability to improve. Constantly strive to improve efficiency. That's what we just talked about. Your morning schedule is sonnet. Let's see. Should be sacrosanct, okay? Your morning should be absolutely set in stone. And you all who know me at all, you know that my morning is absolutely set in stone. I very rarely differentiate from what I say I'm going to do in the morning. If you have just your morning from 7 a.m., whenever you get up, I get up at 5, from 5 a.m. to noon, I can't do anything but what I have crammed into that morning. And when my day, my day is pretty much done by the end of the morning. So then I can use my afternoon for appointments and other things, okay? Appointments are what you focus on, not just conversations. When you call your center of influence, yes, you get to count it as a call, as a contact, but you know, be aware that it's to make an appointment, not just to have a conversation. Focus on appointments. Now we need to talk about what the definition of a lead is. The definition of a lead, and I'm just going to say this because we don't have time to say anything else. My definition of a lead is an appointment. I don't want to waste time dealing with, oh, I'm working on a loan mod right now. Though I will, but I give it to somebody else to follow up on because I'm always looking for the next appointment. That's how you become efficient. You realize you're all working on the same leads. So quit, you know, if you've got somebody who's going to do something in a year, fine, tell them to call you in a year. Okay, pre-qualify or pre-op every single appointment. We've talked about that till we're sick of it, but it's always true. We have scripts for everything from lead gen to pre-op to the listing appointment to handling objections, scripts for everything. And the best of the best have scripts for everything. And then they review their business plan and their goals weekly, usually on Sunday night before the next week starts, but it can be on Friday night whenever you want. But plan it. Put it in your time block. Okay, now let's look at your weekly plan. You have your weekly plan. I know we use this a lot, but here's what I want you to do. I want you to take out the weekly plan that you have printed in front of you. And here's what we're going to do. We're going to do a perfect week, what I think is a perfect week, since I'm your boss today, okay? First of all, you plug in our coaching call on Thursdays at 1. So everybody write that in right now. And I'm going to move quick, so get ready, okay? You should be getting up no later than 6 a.m., okay? And some of you get up earlier, that's fine. But get up no later than 6 a.m., do your morning routine, whatever that is. You should be doing role play, masterminds, coaching calls, whatever, from 6:30. We have a team huddle in our team. We have a team huddle on the phone at 6:30 in the morning to discuss what happened yesterday and what we're going to do today. And we do that 3 days a week. It's already plugged in. I do affirmations with the same affirmation partner at 6 a.m. So that's what I do, okay? Then by 7:30, you should be role playing because by 8, you should be starting to prospect. Now, some people role play at 8:30, start to prospect at 9. That's okay, as long as it's in your schedule. You should prospect for 2 hours every morning. 2 hours in the morning. The average person can do 8 to 10 calls a day, in an hour. And even I only get 8 to 10 calls in an hour. But, so that's why I do 2 hours, because that gives me, 10 to 12 calls every hour, 8 to 10 calls an hour. That's my 18 or my 22 calls I have to make. So I should be getting an appointment every day based on my efficiencies. You can get the appointments you need based on your efficiencies by prospecting 2 hours a day. And the better you get, the more appointments you get. Just tell me what you want.
Well, just say we'll send them your typical weekly
we'll send you this weekly schedule, but you can write this down. This is it. Okay. Then do you have a meeting? Do you have a Monday meeting or a Tuesday meeting with your team? Plug it in. Do you have a conference call? I have a conference call every Monday at noon. That's me. What do you have? But okay, if I'm prospecting from 8 to 9:30 or 10, then what do I do after that? I pre-qual while I'm prospecting. If I get an appointment, I do the pre-qual right then. You may choose to do it right after, but I would do it then if I were you. At the end of now, mind you, I haven't been on the internet. I haven't been checking my email. I haven't been doing any of that prior to prospecting. So at 10:30 or 11, when I get done prospecting, that's when I check my email, check with my staff, check with my clients, see who I need to follow up with a phone call or an email. And I do that until noon. And then I have lunch or whatever, or my meeting or whatever. I try and plug 2 appointments in a day. Every day I expect to have 2 appointments, usually from 1 to 2, and my appointments take an hour and a half, 1 to 2:30, 2:30 to 4. And then whatever you do in between, it's up to you. So you plug in the stuff that you automatically do every week, your weekly meetings, your coaching calls, your time to plan, your time to make videos, whatever you're doing, you plug that in into your perfect week, along with your meetings, your prospecting time, your affirmation time, your role play time. So you see what I'm going for here. You have to do this, you guys. You're running your lives by default if you don't. And then nothing ever gets done and nothing ever changes. The days of complacency and nothing ever changing for you are over as of today. Got it? Okay, great. Moving on. Okay, so we are almost at the end of our time. I know I've thrown a lot at you. Your assignments for this upcoming week are to watch the lead generation video as many times as you want. It will be up this afternoon or tomorrow morning. It'll be up tomorrow morning. So for today, watch your Big Rocks video if you haven't already, even if you have. It bears repeating. Lead gen is your biggest rock. Your biggest rock, along with our coaching call, of course. Okay? All right, then you're supposed to set up your role play schedule with your assigned role play partner. If you do not have your role play partner assigned yet, that will happen by the end of today. Okay? I found out about a couple of changes that I might have to switch a couple of people around. So, look at it, give people a call, and then I'll change things if I need to. But it's my choice to change it, not yours. Okay, complete your business plan, your goals, your weekly planner, and your financial calculator, and send it to me by email by Monday so that I know that you're there. If you need help, call Dan or me. And then make sure that you have your Center of Influence lists ready by Tuesday, because you're actually going to start prospecting immediately and role-playing immediately on the Center of Influence script, as well as the Just Listed, Just Sold script. Okay? You're going to see that in the lead gen video. We will hopefully see the majority of you, or hear the majority of you, on the call on Tuesday. We will send you an email giving you that time and number. It'll be at 1 o'clock on Tuesday, so plug that into your perfect week. Have a fabulous Thanksgiving. Oh, okay, Dan's got something to say.
Okay, just a reminder to everyone, the email notification you got today reminding you of the webinar also has the attachments that were for this week. So, and it's an Excel, the Excel sheet that you got has tabs. It's a workbook. So at the bottom of the page, it has tab 1, the business plan worksheets. Now, we didn't go through those individually, but they help you answer all these questions like, what did I do last year? What do I think I want to do this year? So go through that tab 1, go through tab 1 in the Excel workbook. Tab 2 is the calculator that lets you fill in your numbers. And again, call me if you need help with it. Tab 3 is the weekly planner. If you want to use that weekly planner, I did attach it as a PDF in today's email as well, but you can use it online, and it's set up to go through December, the end of December. So there's a weekly planner for each day in tab 3 in that Excel workbook. And then tab 4 is the example calculator. That's kind of what I went through with you online a moment ago. And then tab 5 is objective setting documents that the folks at Keller Williams are familiar with as 411. So go back to the email that you received with the Excel workbook. It has all the attachments that we went through today.
Thank you. Okay, so I know that our time is up. I do have one last thing I would like to leave you with for your Thanksgiving week upcoming. Okay. You know, years ago I knew someone who was raised by wonderful parents. Her dad was a salesman, so she knew about setting goals and making a plan and doing all that kind of stuff from the time she was a very young girl. Very conservative family, and she always excelled, and and kind of followed the format of her dad and her mom. Her mom was a musician, her dad was a salesman and a musician, but she came from a very conservative family. And after she got married, she started in real estate, and she started getting coaching. Okay. And she'd never really gotten coaching on anything before. And so she started getting this coaching, and what she realized that coaching did for her was that though she did not come from a dysfunctional family, she came from a great family with great moral values, with great work ethic. What coaching did for her was it opened her eyes to things in the world that could be true for her that she didn't even know existed. And that is what we're here for. We are here to change lives, to make you see, help you to see things that you never even knew existed. And that girl is me. And I just want you to know that the goal of my life right now is to make sure that all of you have the most wonderful life you can possibly have by helping to broaden your horizons and see what is available, what is out there. I came from a wonderful life, but I never had any idea that I could have, that any of this was even possible for me. And the only reason that I know about it is for the people that I have met through coaching. And I want you to know how grateful I am that you guys get to be my first coaching clients through this program. And I want you to know how much I appreciate you all and appreciate the fact that you see the value in coaching. So have a wonderful Thanksgiving week. If you're unable to be on the call with us on Tuesday, we will see you a week from Thursday. Thank you, Dan. Thank you all. God bless you, and God bless America.